down to back 40. Got the Intimidator Enforcer 800 down here. We're getting ready to take this top off. See if I get the camera right. I'll hold my mouth open like a weirdo. We're going to take the top off. We're going to take the light bar off. We're going to remove all the speakers. We're going to remove the roof speakers. And we're going to get this thing down here on a stand and get it laid out. Stay tuned. Okay, so the roof's up on the stand. I rolled the machine back a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. What we're going to do is we're going to wipe this down real good on the inside. And I've got this roof laid down just like it goes on the machine, so we flip it over. This is going to be the passenger side, and then that's the driver's side if you turn it like this. So that helps me when I'm laying out everything under here where I want it. I got a good idea in my head if I know the orientation where I put this down. When I put my templates on and everything and I start cutting this out, I pretty well know where everything's going to be, aside from doing some measuring and finding center and knowing where to center all the speakers. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I got a tape measure, white crayon. I'm going to find the center of this main panel. We're not going to do the back panel. It's not going to be encased on the top when we cut the cage down. So we're not going to mess with this portion and then this portion. This is actually a 3-piece roof, so it makes the bend in the back. We're just going to focus on this center section that is directly over the top of the driver and the passenger spots in the machine. So we got 52 inches here, so we need 26. Back here it's also 52 inches, so we're going to need 26. So that's our center point here and here. I forgot to grab a straight edge. Got the straight edge. I'm going to put the straight edge on here. So there's our center left to right. Now we need to find our center front to back. So I'm finding the lip. What I'm doing under here is I'm finding the lip on the central panel. Measure out the end. We're 32 inches. So we're going to need. So if we got 32 inches, we're going to need to be 18 inches. And we're going to need to be 16 inches. Oh, that's getting crooked. 16 inches here. We're going to jump over here and we're going to need 16 inches here. Come up here, 16 inches. There, there. Our straight edge up. Okay. Now we know where the dead center of this roof panel is. We know the center of this roof panel is right here. So now when I lay this out, I'm going to look at this like it's flipped. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say this is P for passenger, and then this is D for driver. And we're going to break this up into 4 quadrants to lay this out. So we're going to have, this is the front, we're going to say this is driver 1. This is passenger 1. This is driver 2, and this is passenger 2. So now we have our quadrants laid out for our sections of how this is going to be laid out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run over here into my 6.5 inch speaker box, and there's a template in there. I'm going to pull that template out for the diameter of the hole to be cut in the roof. And we're going to start laying this out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I've got the template, I've got the tape, and I switched to a marker because this has got to be a little more precise. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give myself 4 inches of relief off this center section. I'm going to give myself 4 inches of relief on both sides. That way when I put the speakers in, I don't have to worry about the grills and the covers creating any conflict between each other. So then I found my 4 inches of relief. I'm going to come off here and I'm going to mark the circle in the template for passenger 1. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to do the same thing for driver 1. So we know that's where the first 2 are going to go. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give myself a total of 8 inches of relief there, so 4 inches on each side of the center. I'm going to add 12 inches to that, so I'm going to make it 20 inches. And check where I'm at here. Should be on both. Yeah, so that's good. So then we're going to add another 8 inches. We're going to make it 28 inches. So we're going to put this at our 14-inch mark. And then this, at 28, if you center your tape 14 inches on the center, you come over to 28, you put a line, and then put a line here. That's the beginning of our next two inserts. And be sure to always use the same side of the template. Alright, so there's the first 4 holes for the speakers laid out. Now we're just going to duplicate this on the other side. We got to find a few more measurements before then. So we came in here 7.5 inches from the end. So we're going to come in off this side 7.5 inches. Here. Here. Now we're going to come off here 8. So we're going to do 4 and 4. We'll put a line at the 8. Well, a miles no action here. So where we were at was, we were just coming off our center line here. We were giving ourselves 4 inches of relief on both sides of that line for the driver 2 quadrant and the passenger 2 quadrant. And the reason I've laid this out this way is so everything is crystal clear. There's no making mistakes because we have it broken up into 4 quadrants and we know the exact layout in each one of those quadrants. So we'll get right back to that. So we did our 4-inch relief here and our 4-inch relief here, totaling 8 inches of relief. And then now we're going to come across here, we're just going to double check this next relief. It's at 28 inches, centered at 14. So we can come up here, center 14. We need to put a line at 28. And then we need a line at the end of the tape here. So now that we have this section lined out, we also have determined that we are 7.5 inches from the front of this panel, and we're 7.5 inches off the rear of this panel. So that means when we lay these out, instead of laying them out off this line, we have to start them on the edge of a line coming across here. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to straight line this and give ourselves our 7.5 inches this way. Which is on right, should be 8.5 inches, which should be 8.5 inches. So we can square it using the straight edge. Here and here. So now just imagine this black line is where we're going to put this end of the cardboard and we're going to put this end against our relief marks. Now that we know that this one is perfectly straight, we're just going to use it as a guide. We don't have to measure it again. Alright, so now we're going to come in here. We're going to use our relief, and we're going to use our 7.5 inch line. We're going to use both reliefs. We're going to mark these next 4. Now we're going to come back. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to look at these, I'm going to make sure everything's straight. So now that I've determined everything is straight, I'm going to show you guys what's going on here. So here's our center portion, front to back. Here's the center left to right. Sorry, here's the center left to right. This is center front to back. This is driver 1, passenger 1, driver 2, passenger 2. And if you imagine this panel being flipped like this on the machine, that's the passenger side, this is the driver's side, 1 being the front, 2 being the back. So now that we've determined that, we're just visually going to inspect all these reference marks for our template, for our cutouts, for our speakers. There's going to be 8 speakers in this total. That's what I have now. I have 8. I have 4 in the back in cans, and then I had 4 mounted in here previously. So I'm wanting to get away from that because I'm wanting to chop the top on this machine. So by hiding everything up in here and then building on top of that, it's going to give us more head space so we can cut the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come inside all these templated circles I made for these cutouts, and I'm going to put an X in them. And the reason I'm putting the X in them is so I know that piece comes out. This is the portion that's going to get removed. All right, now that the layout's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bolt, 2 nuts, and a washer here. I'm going to grind the powder coating off on the inside of the roof so we don't grind on the outside, even though it's going to be covered up. I'm going to grind it off on the inside. I'm going to stack this in there to make sure we get a good ground. I'm going to use this as a grounding lug for the plasma cutter. So stay with me just a second. We'll plasma cut these holes. I'm going to attempt to freehand these. I could make a jig, but I think I can freehand them and get them pretty straight without a jig. I've used a plasma cutter quite a bit, and if there's any little burrs or anything left like that at the end, we'll just take a file and knock them off with a file. All right, I'm going to finish cutting these things, and I'll get back to you guys. Just show you the process. We cut one out with the camera over here, and then cut one out up close. So I'm going to finish cutting them, and I'll get back with you. All right, everybody, just got all the holes cut in the roof for the speakers, and here's what it looks like after we cut all 8 holes. Here's what we're working with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the speakers out. I'm going to file the edges of this to clean it up. I'm going to test fit everything, and then off to the fabricator it goes. Stay tuned. All right, guys, I've got the speakers in. I got all the holes to the proper dimensions. Wanted to show you guys what it looked like before we send it off to the fabricator. So here's what we got. This is before we go to the fabricator. Everything's installed. There's four 6.5s on this side, 4 6.5s on that side, for a total of 8 6.5-inch speakers. We're going to take this, we're going to bolt all these down. We're going to mock it up on the machine tonight. I'm going to try to get that on film for you guys. And then as soon as that's done, we're going to pull everything back out. We're going to send it to the fabricator. He's going to sandblast it. Alright guys, so I thought I was done for the day. I already tuned out once, said my end spiel for the video and the whole bit, but I decided we needed to go ahead and test fit this thing today. So I got it back up on the machine there, doing the test fit to make sure everything works like it's supposed to and everything clears, and it's literally perfect. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's kind of dark. It fits phenomenal. So I'm excited to get this thing to the fab shop. So I'm going to get off here. I'm going to sign off for the night. Thanks for watching. I'm going to call Iron Knights Welding and get it set up with him so he can get all the welding on the top done and the box built and all that, and we'll get this thing dynamated and hooked back up. Catch you later.